This is Frank Islam, Chairman and CEO of FI Investment Group, and your host of Washington Calling, where we interview leading voices from business, politics that impact you, the viewer. Today, we're fortunate to have a distinguished guest, and his name is Dr. Ravi Kolli. He's incoming president of the American Association of Physicians of Indian Origin, known as AAPI. The AAPI has more than 80,000 doctors as its members. His organization has been doing a fantastic and commendable job in raising relief funds and dispatching life-saving medical supplies to India. We are deeply grateful and deeply appreciate his organization's help and support and generosity as India and the world continues to battle a very dangerous and deadly pandemic. Thank you for coming to our show, Dr. Kolli, and it's nice to have you, and thank you for all you're doing to make a difference.
Thank you, Frank, for having me here. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here and represent the AAPI, American Association of Physicians of Indian Origin. I really appreciate this opportunity to talk to you.
Sure, Dr. Kolli, you are wonderful, and thank you very much. And I used to live in Pittsburgh, so there's a little bit of, we have, not only we have a shared heritage and history, but we also belong to the same place where I lived when I was young. I went to Carnegie Mellon.
That's great.
So Dr. Kolli, tell us a little bit to our audience, when AAPI was founded, what is its mission, goals, and objectives are, and what projects do AAPI support? And since you're a doctor, tell us why is the most rewarding profession in the human history, and share with us what made AAPI so successful and one of the most well-known, well-recognized, and largest professional organization in the United States.
That's a very important question that you asked, Frank. And like you know, the profession of being a physician is a very honorable blessing. And in our culture, we honor physicians almost like a god. And that has been our tradition in our country and our culture. So all Indian parents usually tend to encourage their children to take a profession like that, that is very public service oriented, saving and alleviating the suffering. India has 1.4 million physicians from Indian as a country, and they are distributed all over the world. Besides being in India, about 1 million people are in India, physicians. The rest of them are all over the world. So we are serving the whole humanity. And that's another part of our culture. We all see the world as one family. So being a physician gives you the opportunity to serve anybody, anywhere, anytime. And especially during these days with telemedicine, technology, we can reach out and make a difference in lives in various people. Coming to AAPI, and the AAPI started 40 years back, primarily to kind of unite physicians of Indian origin to fight the common causes such as discrimination and discrepancies in opportunities for education, advancement in professions, and management and leadership. We have accomplished that by leaps and bounds. Now we are a large Indian ethnic group of physicians serving the country honorably and well recognized. So AAPI has kind of overcome that obstacle, and now we're trying to advance our agenda to help the general public as well, providing great care and also advocating for public health issues. So we have a lot of work to do, and we need all the partners to work with us to promote good, healthy lifestyles and delivery of quality health care.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kolli. You know, what has made Indian doctors so trusted and relied upon by patients across America? Some study that I have seen suggests that the Indian doctors are better than the US educated doctor. That's what the people say. And, you know, some studies suggest that the healthcare, that the immigrants, and especially the Indian immigrants, can help lower physicians shortage in rural America. And we have a lot of AAPI people that work in rural America. So shed some bright light on it to tell us why Indian doctors are so trusted and relied upon. And by the way, they're well respected as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And again, I think it's part of it is our cultural heritage.
That's a
We
good
come
point.
from a culture, we have humility, compassion, kindness. Um, we care for our patients like our family members. And those values we kind of continue to practice. And we don't look at patient as just a number, and we see them as a person with an illness that are seeking help. And we see it as a blessing and a great gift from God for us to be able to serve people. So that value kind of transmits us to be able to connect very well with any patient group. Patients are very vulnerable at the time of their illness and sickness, and so to be able to compassionately connect with them gives us an edge to be able to serve them well. And
Well,
those
go ahead.
values are enduring and enduring for our patients. And I think that's how we connect so well with our patients. And like you said, especially in the rural communities, Indian physicians
Yes.
are serving places where there's a scarcity of physicians providing care. And I have just talked to some doctors in Kentucky the other day, how much they're valued in spite of a lot of other racial discrimination happening in those states. But when you come one-to-one contact with the American people, they're very nice, very good, and they're very open-hearted, very generous, and they reciprocate with the same feeling from us.
Thank you very much, Doctor. I'm sure you know the Indian doctors have been honored for their selfless service during the pandemic, and some have even died. That's the sad part. What do you think is the singular quality beside Indian doctors? They're compassionate, they're caring, they're good, and they are kind. That has made Indian doctors so popular and well regarded across North America. And you made that point very well. Can you shed a little bit more about it, why they are so good? And because every time I go to any doctors, they're, you know, my family is, has many doctors in my own family over here. And that's how we come to America. That's how our South Asian culture is.
Yeah.
And I have known a lot of doctors of South Asian origin. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, we tend to take our job as not as just a job, but as a profession, as a calling, as an
Yeah.
obligation, and as a service to humanity. And like you said, many of us have a heritage of being physicians. For example, my uncles were physicians. My daughter is an aspiring physician. She's a resident in psychiatry in Temple. So we value this as a profession of family heritage. So we're not just working for ourselves, we're working for generations of physicians above us and after us. So we value our reputation, we value our contribution to the community. And like I alluded to, the kindness, the compassion, and the moments of vulnerability the patient comes to us, we connect with them so well. And no detraction from other group, they all do well, but we also have been recognized for all the services we do. And we sacrifice lives, we sacrifice ourselves, our time, our family time. And
Yeah.
many Indian physicians have suffered. And one of my good friend, Dr. Ajay Lodha, was past president of AAPI.
Who's your friend? Dr. Who?
Dr. Ajay Lodha, the
Yeah.
past president
Yeah.
of AAPI, he passed
Yeah.
away
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
COVID in the early pandemic time. So we do sacrifice, we selflessly serve, and we want to be a pillar of the community most where we live. So that's
Oh,
why.
that's a very well said. You're the pillar of the pillar of our nations, and that's very important to all of us to recognize and reward your talent. You know, Indian American doctors have made a big impact and influence on the American healthcare system, and now they are into policymakers. So the question that I have, what makes the Indian doctors do better than the other immigrant doctor? Do you think the Indian culture plays an important role? And do you believe that the Indian doctors are better? And when they talk to the Americans and all the patients, they basically say, you're going to live longer. So why do Indian Americans succeed in the United States, but they don't succeed in India?
Good question. Excellent. So here, the good thing about the American system is quality is valued and the competition is encouraged. And we do come from a culture of cooperation but we now take the best of the both worlds. We cooperate and at the same time compete. So we are getting ahead of many other communities because of the best of the both world attitude we have. We, as a group, succeed. This is a natural progression. We started our careers as physicians and then became academicians and then researchers, scientists, and the leaders in the healthcare system. So many healthcare organizations are being led by Indians. For example, Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy, and just yesterday, I think, or day before, I heard one of the CMOs appointed was an Indian from one of the big insurance companies. So this is very widely, we are respected for our values, our contributions, our emotional intelligence. That's another thing. Our skills, not as a technical, intellectual skills, but our people skills are very amazing. That's part of our culture. We have self-awareness, we have compassion, we have motivation, we connect with people well, we are very patient, we are not very in such a hurry sometimes. The Western culture tends to want to see the results quickly, whereas we value relationships, we value time spent with each other as a not time wasted. We kind of, those values are long lasting and much more productive in the long term. I think that's what gives us the edge.
Very nicely said, Dr. Kolli, and we deeply appreciate your all you're doing in terms of your kindness and generosity and making a difference. And so my question to you is, I'm sure you're aware of the Indian American generosity by giving back and by sharing to India, such as I've seen many instances, you have organized rural health camps. So how receptive do you think the Indian government is to the AAPI's plans and philanthropic engagement? Please shed some bright lights on giving a roadmap how you help in reaching to the people who needs the most, who are voiceless, who are poor, and so on and so forth. How API can helping them people, those people in India.
Yeah, AAPI has a tradition of connecting with rural communities. Back in India, AAPI has a arm called the AAPI Charitable Foundation, and over the years they have run free clinics in various parts of the country. And during this pandemic as well, AAPI raised funds and many members generously contributed. One, Dr. Jagdeep Shah from Virginia donated $750,000 to AAPI to serve the communities back in India, to provide all those equipment and services during the hard-hit pandemic struggles we had last year. So AAPI has donated all these funds to various organizations and provided ventilators and provided oxygenators and provided medicine, provided various expertise, knowledge sharing and everything. And we're continuing to do that. And India is a complex country with many states and governments and politics and parties. So it's a very tough place to navigate, but overall, I think it's improving. The public mindedness is improving, the collaborative attitudes are improving. So we're able to connect with important people in each state as needed to connect with them and provide them the help.
Yeah, you said it very well. And obviously, you know, the situation in India with regard to democracy and democratic values, it has become a, you know, isolationist in the wake of what's going on in the Ukraine war. So that's the different questions that I will ask you some other times. As you know, India provides the largest number of international medical graduates to the United States. What's your advice to the Indian policymakers and the health ministry how to improve the Indian medical system and better learning facility for its aspiring doctors?
Right.
And do you, and I will get back to another question that I will have before we close our conversation, Dr. Kolli.
Yeah, that's an important question. India has come a long way from where we were We had 86 medical schools in 1960. We have like 606 medical schools now. India produced the largest number of medical students every year, almost. Last time I heard was 80,000. Now, last week I heard it's 1.2 lakhs. So that's 100,000 physicians or MBBS graduates are coming out of allopathic school. If you set aside all the other traditional medical school, which is another 40,000 people, but just focusing on allopathic medical graduates, we have almost 100,000 physicians being produced every year. Are they all equally trained and competent? That is debatable, but that happens even here. Quality varies, depends on institution. Like you said, many people are going outside the country to get education as well, not because of our quality is less, but our opportunities are small compared to our demand. There are about, there's an exam called NEET that about 2 million people apply for that. Only 80,000 people will be selected. So it's a very highly competitive exam. And also it's expensive to go to private medical school. So the cost of education in other countries like China, Russia, Ukraine, Philippines are almost half the what we pay in private medical schools in India. But the problem is when they come back, they have to take an exam. Only 20% of the coming back graduates, foreign medical graduates, who are trained in foreign countries are able to clear the exam. So they're not able to serve the needs of the country. So they're struggling as well. So we need to find a solution how the foreign medical graduates returning back to India can be integrated into our system without compromising quality. And also, how can we make it more affordable to middle class and lower middle class people to be able to aspire to medical education? So,
very nicely said.
Yeah.
Do you also, before we close the conversation, that's what I was going to say, but obviously I did not say it very properly. What will be your advice to the young generations of Indian Americans or even Americans that they want to follow in your footsteps and also be a doctor and serve the humanity? What will be your advice to them, and how do they get about doing that, Dr. Kolli?
That's a very important question. As a matter of fact, like I mentioned earlier, my daughter is a physician, and I never pushed her into it, but she chose to be a physician. And even more interesting, I'm a psychiatrist, and she chose to be a psychiatrist also.
So
I
you're a psychiatrist or you're a doctor?
I'm a medical psychiatrist. So I'm
Okay.
a physician and a psychiatrist. My specialty is psychiatry. And
Okay.
a medical doctor. And my daughter is doing the same path. I think
Your daughter is also a doctor?
Yeah, she's a physician trained in Albany Medical College now, training at Temple University in psychiatry.
Yeah, I know what it is. Yeah.
So I think we have a natural kind of a tendency to follow role models. And we have so many role models in medical community. So it becomes a very easy path to choose. And but we need to bring other ethnic groups like Hispanics and Black Americans to become physicians to serve their communities as well. I think
Very
we
well
need to
said.
improve the access and equity and all those issues so we can tackle problems that are kind of specific to certain population like obesity and hypertension and heart disease. So we can be more targeted in our treatments and reach out to communities.
That's a good advice. So before I close my conversation, do you have anything else to say to the people before we say goodbye to each other and move on?
Sure. Again, I thank you for this opportunity to reach out to wider population of Indians and Americans across the globe. And like I said, I'm a psychiatrist. I'm going to focus very much during my term on physician wellness, the mental health of the communities, the suicide prevention, the burnout in the physician community. I also request all of you to support AAPI, whoever is not a member of AAPI as a physician of Indian origin, please join. It's a very
So when is the next convention is going to be and where is going to take place?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say, mention. The next convention is in San Antonio the
Oh,
hometown of the current president, Dr. Anupama Gochimukula.
when is that? When is the convention, Dr.
From
Khan?
June 23 to 26, and
Okay,
I'll be taking over on 25th as the president of
okay,
AAPI. And so please come join our convention. It'll be a great convention. It's continuing medical education, entertainment, education, enlightenment, and engagement, entrepreneurship. We'll have opportunities to meet.
very well said. So who's going to be the keynote speaker for that convention?
We have Peter Hortz, the pioneer in COVID vaccine, is one of the keynote speakers. We have invited the Health Minister of India. He has most likely will be arriving for that. And we have the President of AMA, Jack Rosnick, as a keynote speaker. We're also inviting local Texas senators and other people.
Okay,
We are reaching out, and we have a lot of CEOs from different organizations coming to us to talk and promote equity and access, quality of healthcare for all the communities of the
okay.
nation.
Well, good luck to you, and our good wishes are with you as you undertake this new and solemn journey.
Thank
And
you, and looking forward to coming to your place and visit
yeah,
you.
please do so. I'll send you the invite as soon as I get your email and my bio. And thank you very much for all you're doing to make a meaningful and profound difference in people's life and serving humanity. And good luck to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
You are a role model for all of us. So this is Frank Islam wishing you a great week, and thank you for watching.